hands already? All right, cool. Because before you ask me questions later, I want to ask you a couple questions now, all right? So, has anyone in this room ever felt like they had to be perfect for anyone or for any reason? You ever felt like you had to be perfect? You don't have to keep your hands up. Just anytime you agree, just touch the sky, okay? So, have you ever made a mistake? Yeah? Everyone? Yeah. So no one in this room is alone, right? You know, we go through life and we feel like, you know, at moments we're alone, or at moments we feel like we have to be perfect, we can't fail, you know. This major pressure of life is just sitting on top of us, and sometimes, you know, that ties into that mental health, or, you know, striving to be something for someone else, or for any reason, you know, that we don't understand all the time. But what I came to tell you is, no one's perfect. No one's perfect. You're not ever going to be perfect, and it's okay to fail. So me growing up, I came up from a place of failure. I mean, that little town, Elyria, every day someone's dying. Every time I go on Facebook, I see a new dead person, and I'm just like, wow, I grew up with that person, you know? But in this little town, all this bad stuff happens. You know, all this mental health, all this violence, all these things go on, and when you're in that environment all the time, you kind of either decide to get out, or you end up being a part of it. And for me, it started before I was even born. The choices that my parents made. You know, my mother and my father, they were teenagers when they had me. They decided to have me. You know, this is the hard part when I was younger for me is, you know, most times kids go through the fact that, you know, their parent tells them, oh, you were an accident. I didn't mean to have you, you know, but here you are, so it is what it is. And so when you go through these things, you're like, well, it's just all because I'm not even meant to be here. They didn't even want me, you know, whatever it is. But my parents actually made a decision to have me. And still I had a crappy life. I was like, how can you decide to have a child and then not take care of it like you're supposed to? You know, but then I had to understand where they came from, you know, their background. It just goes on and on and on. And my mother was 15 years old when she got pregnant. My father was only 1 year older than her. But my father, you know, his mom, she was a single mother of 6, so my father was the man of the house. So at 14 years old, he began to sell drugs. And by the time he had me, he was so caught up in the game that he wouldn't leave until he was forced to leave that life. He went to prison for 13 years of my life. I didn't even know who the man was until I was 9 years old. So my mother had got married when I was young, trying to make sure I had a father. And, you know, but that's not, it wasn't love. It was just kind of the situation that they made, you know, to make things work, or to try to cope with whatever was going on. And it just created more problems out of that, because one day they had to come and make a decision. Do we tell her who her father is, or do we keep it a secret? And my stepdad at that time, I call him my dad still, but, you know, he was like, yeah, we should tell her the truth, but I don't want her to know that I'm not her dad, because I'm here. I'm the only dad she knows. And my mom said, well, it's not fair if we don't tell her, you know? But so they decided, you know, we're going to do what's best for her. We're going to tell her the truth. And it killed me. I remember that day, it was Christmas. Like, that's not a gift that you give someone. You don't tell someone, hey, this whole time, you know, you thought you were this person, but really this is not your life, you know? Kind of messes you up as a child. You know, that was like the beginning of the pain. And it never stopped. Honestly, it just started rolling like a wrecking ball after that. You know, I had to deal with the changes. I had to reevaluate who I was as such a child, though. And then to see the results that came out of them telling me that they began to fight so bad that I witnessed my stepdad strangle my mom until she couldn't breathe anymore. And I was only 9 and I couldn't say anything. I ran and I hid, and I felt like such a coward. How did I not help my mom? How did I not say anything? and that's when the pressure of growing up started to begin, because they separated, and my mom, she became a single mother of 4 at that point. And I'm the oldest child. Because of everything she went through, she started being depressed. She was a young mother of 4, and she just, all this bad stuff happened. She tried to be perfect. She tried to fix the problem, and it only got worse. And so that fell on me, because she became an alcoholic, right? She was depressed. She was in her room all the time. So nobody was feeding my brothers and sisters. She wasn't helping them with their homework. My stepdad, he was somewhere. My father was gone. He couldn't even help if he wanted to. So who was it? It was on me. I was 10 years old at this point. So life began quick. I don't even know when the last time I got to be a child. I struggled with that. I struggled with many things, trying to understand things, trying to grow up, and it wasn't my time to grow up yet. It wasn't. I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was fair. It's not my fault. I didn't ask to be here. How can you put all this on me? And you decided to make this choice, right? And so then, Alicia, make sure you do this right. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do this. You got to do this for this person and do that for this person, and make sure you're good. Okay, I'm not even a teenager yet, right? It makes it hard. Now, maybe you guys all can't understand that. Maybe you get to be a child, and so what I'm telling you is, while you have the chance, take it. We always want to grow up so quick, we can't wait until we pay our own bills. Why? I really don't get because if somebody, I was in college and I'm like she said, I might look like I'm young, but I'm pushing 30, okay? So I'm in college, after people, because I had to wait where I thought I did. I was smart, don't get me wrong. I started college while I was in high school. But from the pressures of life, I kind of threw it to the side. I wasn't worried about my books. I started at the age of 13 smoking marijuana. Just to ease the pressure a little bit, ease the pain, just try to escape. It really doesn't help you do that. It just makes you think more. It really makes you think about everything, and then you kind of seep into this mental health issue of depression, because you're focused on all the things that are going wrong, and they're just running through your head at all times. And so by the age of 14, I was on my 2nd set of depression meds, and they're trying stuff out, and it just wasn't working, honestly. It was just making it worse. And I'm like, okay, it's not doing the thing, because at 14, I swallowed all of them. 33 pills left in there. And I was like, you know what? At this point, my mom, she was trying to go from being my friend to being my mom. And I'm like, hold up. I think you kicked the mom thing out the door a long time ago when you made me grow up, and it wasn't my time. So, it kind of stirred up a bunch of stuff. And when she would get drunk, she would want to fight me. I looked like my dad. She was mad because he didn't leave the streets, all these things that happened that weren't my fault. But I took them on as my own failures, as my own problems, as all the pressure that I had to deal with. And one day it just got so heavy. My mom wasn't even trying to fight me this day. I think she was just yelling at my sister. She's all in the living room. I was in my bed, and I was like, you know what? I have had it. I'm over it. I'm done. I don't even want to be here anymore. I didn't ask for all of this. I didn't ask for this. This is not my problem. But I guess I have a purpose, because I'm still here. I actually wrote a note to my little sister, and I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I failed you. I'm sorry I wasn't the perfect big sister. I'm sorry I couldn't do more, but I can't take it anymore. So I love you. And that was it. 2 hours after I had taken those pills, she finds this letter, and she's going crazy. She tells my mom, they rushed me to the hospital, and by the grace of God, they found nothing in my system. I wasn't crazy. I didn't even like taking pills, so I didn't make it up in my head that I did it. It was real. It was real to me. And they tried to put me on more, and that's when I said, no, I don't need those. it's time for me to figure this out on my own. But I still stumble. I still fail. I mean, hey, I'm still failing today. Don't get me wrong. We're always going to make mistakes. Because if we don't, then that makes us perfect. And none of us, like I said, will ever be perfect. So mistakes are inevitable. They'll happen all the time. The difference between me making mistakes when I was younger and me making mistakes now is the fact that I realize I can learn from them. Hey, in the middle of a mistake, instead of holding myself down under it and saying, oh my gosh, I'm not perfect, blah, 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 whatever it is that goes on in my head while I'm doing wrong, you know, now I say, okay, what is it that I'm doing wrong and how is it that I can get it right? Right? You gotta see what it is that you have to learn from the mistake in order to be better the next time. Because if we don't make mistakes, then we don't know which way to go. Like, we don't know which way is right from wrong. I mean, sometimes we do, and sometimes we still choose wrong. And that's okay. You still can take something from it. I know you hear from the adults around us. I remember someone saying that, oh, you know, adults tell us stuff, you know, we don't like it. I think it was Miss Christie on the presentation earlier. And she said, you know, they're old and they sound crazy, but really, when someone has already gone through something and they're trying to tell you, hey, don't go down that road, I've already been there, trust them. Believe them. They've already been there. You know what I mean? And it might sound like, you know, it's like you put a big sign on the door and it says, do not enter, and you're like, okay, I gotta see what's down there. There's something out there that nobody wants me to see, so I know it's for me to see. No, it's actually not. There's a sign on the door for a reason. And it's like, don't go in there, because there's something in there that you need to stay away from. And so when someone gives you that sign and puts it on your door, stay out of the door. Don't try to turn the handle. Don't try to creep in. Don't peek. See, you know what? Hey, whatever that is, I don't want it. Because next time, it might be a big lion that's not contained, and it might get you. Right? So you might have creeped out the last time when it was just a little itsy bitsy spider. But next time, when it's a really big monster, it might get you. So if somebody told you to stay away from it in the first place, just stay away from it. You don't gotta be tough. You know, and speaking about tough, you know, people think, you know, I used to let my pride get in my way. Attitude, you know, I thought I knew everything. But that's what happens when you gotta grow up before you're supposed to grow up. You think you know everything. You know, I know a lot, don't get me wrong, but I don't know everything. I don't know everything at all. And so, you know, when someone tells you, hey, no, or do this, or this is how you should do it, and no, I'm gonna do it my way. Well, you know, you gotta take that as like an instruction manual of sorts. You know, there are gonna be times when people give you advice that maybe it's not correct, but there's probably something you can take from it. You know, you might not pick up the instruction manual every time you put something together because you think you got it on your own, but then you find halfway through it, you probably should have. You probably should have looked at it, peeked at it, you know, maybe looked it over just a little bit, even thought about it for a second, because then it would probably make sense. You know, and people around us, they are our instruction manuals. They give us advice on a daily basis. It might not come in the form of this, you know, but hey, you should probably turn left now while they're teaching you how to drive. You know? And you should probably stop texting. You know, oh, I'm only gonna do it at a stoplight, okay? But somebody behind you might be texting because it's a stoplight, and they might still hit you, but you weren't paying attention enough to move up, you know, because you were looking down, right? But beyond all my failures, there became a point when I was tired. I just got tired of failing on purpose. I got tired of what everyone else did being my fault, or me not taking responsibility of the actions that came out of those things. You know, because my attitude came out of those things. Yeah, it was, I shouldn't have come up in a situation like that. No, it wasn't my fault. But my attitude, me acting out of my failures, I did so many things. I started smoking. There was even a point when I started selling didn't care about things. I had dropped out of college. I pretty much had a full ride. And I dropped out. For what? Because I felt like I'm gonna fail anyways. Look at everything around me. I can't do this. No one believes in me. You know? And I was like, screw it, you know? And I remember I just had to work some really crappy jobs because of that. A lot. Because I realized I'm a really hard worker. In some places, they make you work really hard and they pay you nothing. And that's okay to start, you know, when you're in high school. You got to build up some kind of experience, you know. But for the rest of your life, no. No. Because that mental health stuff is serious, you know. That'll drive you crazy. You're over here getting paid $750 for, you know, you done picked up that whole desk and moved it over here 5 times. You know, it's just too much. And so I was like, okay, well, one day I was working at this, I had a great job actually. I was about 20. I was working at Chipotle. What was so great about that is their mission statement. What they do to feed people, you know, fresh produce, and the workers, how hard they work. It was teaching me a lot of things. It taught me how to cook. It taught me how to be a good character. You know, it taught me how to work hard. It taught me integrity. It taught me a lot of things working at this place. But my boss was racist. And it was really bad because I was one of the only colored people in there. But I'm really mixed, okay? And he would always pick on me. I'd give him the hardest work. I worked on and off the clock. I didn't care. I loved my job. I was passionate about it. So I didn't care. It wasn't about the paycheck. It was just about me giving everything I had. And one day he fired me because he left me in charge. Well, he left someone else in charge, but she didn't do her job. And it fell back on me because I stood up for her. And I didn't want to leave, but he didn't give me a choice. So I ended up in this greenhouse with a bunch of illegal immigrants, and I'm like, dude, what is life right now? You know, like, I'm picking up plants and I'm carrying them over here. I'm cleaning them up. I'm like, what is my life? How did I fall here? And I learned something at that point. Because I've seen every step of the process of a plant growing. And it started with a little seed just being planted in the dirt. And what I realized at that point is all of us are that seed. We're all this little piece of we don't know what until we're planted in that dirt and we make a decision to burst out of that shell and grow or to give up. And if we decide to grow with the nourishment around us, we will succeed. And it might take some time. You might see just this little tiny thing sprout one day, and you might not see it get this big until 20 years later. But over time, without paying attention, this little thing will grow, okay? You just gotta keep nourishing it, all right? And sometimes you might have to cut things off to help you grow, because if you try to keep everything on you, I promise it will hold you back. It's like trimming your edges, ladies. You know, you gotta do that sometimes so your hair can be nice and beautiful and healthy. Okay, it's the same with life. Sometimes you gotta cut some friends off. Sometimes you gotta cut some habits off. And you gotta continue to go forward so you can grow. So you can stop being this little itsy bitsy thing. And it might take a while, but that's okay. So I went back to college. Because I went back to college, I became a cross-country runner. Didn't know that I was capable. Never dreamt about running 3 miles. I did it. But I became really successful at it. I found out something, there was a hidden treasure inside of me. And because of that, I'm here today. Because had I not taken that step, I wouldn't have got the scholarship that I got. Had I not got the scholarship, I was offered a couple different things. And some of them were just throwing flashy stuff at me, but I was worried more about my education, not about the running. I wanted both, but I wanted my education more at this point. So I went to this little college in Belleville, Illinois, called Lindenwood, 8 hours away from home, and I didn't even run when I got there. But what happened was I met a lot of people, and that was one of the first people I met. Is my best friend today. And because of her, I met her mother. And because of her mother, so today I wrote a little poem for you. All right? And this will be my final word. I grew up a screw up. Every direction I turned, someone told me my worth. They said it was nothing. I believed them. So one day, I tried to hurry out the door. I got tired of fighting, tired of tears. I felt like I couldn't take it no more. So I tried to end my life here. I had done it all. It was a life that had gone all wrong. Man, I was so low, it felt like I was 6 feet under the floor. One day, I said, no more. This ain't how it's supposed to go. So I picked up my head, remade my bed, started off on this journey, and eventually, they started turning around. I had found I was no longer on the ground. I had to change it in my mind. I will not fail. I will overcome, yes. I will prevail. So I took some positivity and mixed it with determination. The result of this equation is that a few mistakes ain't gonna keep me from my destination. So here I am, living a dream. It may be small to you, but it's big to me. This isn't all. I still have a long ways to go. But as the days go by, I'll keep my head held high. Because through it all, I had learned a lesson that helped stop all my stressing. You see, getting it wrong, it's not the end. It's only the beginning. So put your mind to rest, because ultimately, failure is just success in progress.